Hey, thank you all tuning in to a emergency episode of Ray Hall Talking College Ball. I'm your host, Ray Hall. We're going to talk a little college ball right now, more specifically, though, the newest open job in college football, the LSU Tigers. Um, Brian Kelly, it was informed today to the media that there was discussions being had behind closed doors about the future of the program and Brian Kelly. Um, I didn't think it was going to happen this fast, but it just goes to show if you are a coach who's made promises and you can't get it done, there's very, very little patience with you. Uh, I don't think Brian Kelly did himself any favors. Didn't really make him to be a likable guy. That's kind of his persona. He's kind of the asshole coach that when he's winning you love, but when he's losing, God, is he unbearable. So he's out after 4 seasons or in his fourth season, and I think the real reason for that is if you look at how each season progressed, I guess more so regressed. After season one, it kind of shows a steady decline in overall performance of the program. Uh, Came in, had a solid roster, beat Nick Saban in Death Valley, made it to the SEC championship game. Um, then the 12-team playoff starts the next year. LSU is set to go 0-3 for the 12-team playoff. Excuse me, 0-2 in the 12-team playoff. 0-4 in playoff appearances in general for Brian Kelly. But went 10-3, 10-3, 9-4, and now 5-3. I think the real season that did it in for him was the season that he had Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Will Campbell at tackle, littered with first-round picks on the offensive side of the ball, and couldn't put out a respectable defense to at least complement that offense. One of the best offenses in college football history, and they couldn't make the playoffs. He made a lot of wrong choices, specifically with personnel. Fired a lot of people that were a part of that program for a while, that kind of bled the purple and gold, and came in as a newcomer and wanted to kind of rip it down to the studs. But that obviously didn't bode well, especially when things weren't going right. So I guarantee if you ask Brian Kelly, he has a lot of regrets about how he handled the first couple of months at LSU. And I'm not sure if the fake accent even reaches the top 5 of things he wants to take back. But this is huge. I mean, LSU is, in some people's eyes, the best job in college football. I would definitely say, in my opinion, it's top 3. Pretty much everyone would definitely say top 5. So it's the best job open now at the market. The real question is, who wants to go there? Everyone wants to go there, but who's actually going to go there? Lane Kiffin obviously is the first name on that list. I don't see Lane going there. I think he's content at Ole Miss, but I could be wrong. He just beat LSU, so it's not like he is playing at a disadvantage. But like I said, it is a once-in-a-lifetime job to get Eli Drinkwitz as a possibility. This is a job where every coach, every program but 2 programs, I could probably say, has to start checking on their coach and their agent to make sure they're not leaving. And those 2 programs being Ohio State with Ryan Day and Kalen DeBoer with Alabama. You can argue even DeBoer might get some calls, field some interest for this position. It's really unprecedented. Ever since Nick Saban kind of unlocked Pandora's box with how to conquer and control this program and get it to the top level, the blueprint's been out there. You have access to the best athletes out there, one of the best home field advantages in college football, and some of the best fans in all of college football. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame a top 10 job, top 10 program, one of the most historical programs in all of college football, because he wanted to go to LSU because he thought it gave him a better chance to win a national championship, which I agree with. He wasn't wrong when he said that. I think you do have a better chance at winning a national championship at LSU. But part of that is you got to win the games on your schedule to even give yourself a chance to make the playoffs, or the 4-team or 12-team or the BCS, or get ridden by the Riders just like it was back in the day. It's really this is a huge deal, because now Florida, Penn State, Auburn, if it comes open, all these other big name jobs, big programs, are going to have to wait for the LSU domino to fall. Do I know where they're going to go? I don't. A lot of John Summerall will get thrown out there a lot due to, one, the connection of Louisiana, and then also he's been a rising hot name for a while. I'm not sure if they're ready to hire a group of 5 guy. They may try and get a proven winner. Their first call is probably going to be to Nick Saban. He still feels fondly of that program, even though I would say Alabama and him have a better connection. But the Alabama job isn't open right now. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Nick Saban just had to talk to his agent, Jimmy Sexton, tell him to stop talking to Miss Terry, because if you start floating these numbers around, she's going to tell him to go back to coaching, and he's pretty happy. I don't know if LSU will. Nick Saban said he'd come back, they'd find the cash. But I don't know if they would have the cash just offhand to pay the buyout and then hire Nick Saban. Now, I'll have to look in to see how the contract was written up, or if it's a similar case as in Penn State and James Franklin, where if Brian Kelly gets a new job, they only have to pay the difference. He has to actively look for a job and whatnot. But, I mean, I don't think Brian Kelly will be out of coaching. He'll find a job this cycle. Probably won't be LSU, and that's why I keep saying Penn State. I keep mentioning Penn State, because I kind of felt like it was going this way. I didn't think it was going this way this fast, though. I'm going to be curious to see what happens sooner. Brian Kelly to Penn State, or LSU naming their new head coach. I think LSU gets the pick of who they want. They're going to make Nick Saban say no. They'll probably make Urban Meyer say no. Then they'll make Lane say no. Then after that, I'm not sure where they go. Do they go to Drinkwitz at Missouri? Do they go to John Summerall? Do they get Lincoln Riley, who's not having the best of times in Southern California right now? Do they try and go after Kenny Dillingham? Literally any coach is possible right now for this program. The caliber of athletes, the facility, just everything about this is, I'll say it, my opinion. I already went through the pecking order of it. It's the number one job in all of college football. If you're winning at LSU, you are treated as a king. You don't have to be compared to Bear Bryant and Nick Saban like you would at Alabama. Ohio State, you don't have access to the same recruits there. You have all the support, the national brand, and everything like that, but you don't have literally the best recruits in your backyard. Also with Ohio State, the level of competition for recruiting isn't the same. They get the whole state of Louisiana to themselves for LSU. So I am a little shocked right now. I mean, I didn't expect it. I expected it to come open at this point. It all happened fast. Once you start seeing those reports of there's meetings behind closed doors, you kind of saw it with Billy Napier in Florida, then their hands are kind of tied. They have to move forward. They can't have these meetings and then not actually go through with it. The only program that did that was Florida State, and that's because they don't have the cash on hand to pay his buyout right now. I think Florida State's also happy about that they didn't make that move, because they'd probably be the 4th best job available at this point. But does James Franklin get a stab at the LSU job? I don't think so. I'm really trying to think who else would be. Dan Lanning. Like, Yes, Dan Lanning is happy and content at Oregon. He's built a monster there. He has Nike money there. LSU is still an option. That is how great this job is. Joe Brady has been thrown around a lot. I think that's more so that they've had the connection to the 2019 national championship team, which in all honesty, like Joe Brady did a great job, but that was more so the guys, the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and O's, as people like to throw out. So I don't think he's a legit viable candidate, possibly for the Penn State job, but I don't think so for the LSU job. They need someone that's has a proven track record. They need someone that can recruit, even though that they are set up so well to get these prospects. You still need someone that's going to be able to recruit, especially in the NIL area. It needs to be a manager too. There's been this discussion, I think Joel Klatt had it earlier this week on the Colin Cowherd show, about how coordinators very rarely win national championships in this new day and age. You need the CEO role. So I think that's what they're going to go after. It would be very interesting to see if they go after Marcus Freeman and if Marcus Freeman turns them down. Notre Dame fans aren't going to want to hear that. They think that Notre Dame's just as good of a job, if not better, than LSU, and Marcus Freeman's not going to leave there. But once that offer is on the table, $10 million, $10.5 million, to come and coach at the best home field advantage in all of college football, some of the best recruiting routes in all of college football, it's going to be hard to say no. This is a program where 3 separate coaches, all in a row, Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Coach O, won national championships, all within their first 4 years of being there. The LSU, I think they're the only program that can say that they've done that. That's the only reason why I'd push back about Alabama, because they've had 2 of the most winningest head coaches that have won the most national championships. That's why I say those jobs are kind of on the same level. It's been proven there. But there's some people out there, and I'm not going to tell them they're wrong, that believe if Nick Saban never left LSU for the Dolphins job, that he would have won all those national championships for the purple and gold. I think moving forward, you're going to see the coach firings kind of die down now at this point. I mentioned already with Florida State, but they would become the 4th best job open. I don't know what other jobs are likely to come open. Auburn, I think, will come open, and Auburn will probably be right above Florida, so it'd probably be the 2nd best job, maybe the 3rd after Florida. I'd probably put Florida and Auburn at the same level. But now this is unfortunate for Penn State. They fall down to 3rd, and possibly if Auburn comes open, 4th best job. And that's why I think Brian Kelly's going to go there. Yeah, I don't think anyone in the SEC really wants him right now. So that's why that I've been hinting at Brian Kelly to Penn State for a while. Gosh, I'm trying to think who they can get. I mean, they can get whoever they want, but does Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss for LSU? I think it'd be stupid not to, but there's also part of me that thinks he wants to get it done at Ole Miss. I think in his mind, he's like, if I can get it done at Ole Miss, then I'll be a legend. At LSU, I'll just be one of the many. I'll be with Coach O, Les Miles, and Saban when they were here. But if he does it at Ole Miss, he's that guy. But then again, it's a lot easier to do it somewhere that's done it 3 separate times than to be that trailblazer and kind of break through. This roster is about to get turned over. I mean, the amount of turnover and changes we're going to see in some of these top-level prospects with Florida, LSU, and Penn State even is going to be insane. They are going to have to... That's the problem with doing this mid-season is you kind of have to wait till the end of the season especially if your coach is coaching another program to make that hire. But then you're losing recruits all along the way, losing players on the roster because that window opens. So maybe Florida State was right by not firing Mike Norvell. Maybe Auburn has their head on straight for once for not firing Hugh Freeze last week. I truly am shocked that it happened this week. I mean, last night was just as bad as I can get. Like I said earlier, 35 unanswered. The fire Brian Kelly chants going on during the game in the emptied out Death Valley Stadium. But that's what happens. I mean, he's only regressed since he's been there. It's not a roster issue. They've spent money on the roster, both in the portal and recruiting. It is a coaching issue. The hiring of Joe Sloan was kind of, I guess, the final nail in the coffin that he can't make those decisions. He did right by hiring Brian Baker. First year wasn't so great, but this year the defense is well improved. But, oh, God. It'll be Hayes Fawcett. He does a lot of the recruiting pictures. He's hired, I think, works for On3 now, but posts all of like the new commits either in the portal or high school. He said it earlier that the coaching carousel and then recruiting carousel that's about to take place is going to be unlike any other year. It's unfortunate because this college football season is entertaining enough where we don't need anything to take away from it. But now we're going to have a reality TV show running congruently at the same time as the season. So I've been going about 15 minutes now. I can keep talking about how shocked I am. Keep mentioning more names as they come to my mind. Let's see who else is out there. I wrote down a list a little bit earlier. Jimbo Fisher is being brought out there. That, I mean, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, Jimbo Fisher could be a candidate because they can hire him right now and he can start recruiting. I'm not sure if LSU wants that, but it is a possibility. Dabo Swinney. You tell me Dabo wouldn't love to get a divorce from Clemson right now and move on to the other Tiger Stadium, the other Death Valley. Those are really the big names I'm seeing. I don't think it'll be Dabo Swinney just because of his reluctancy to use the portal, but you can't just hire anyone off of here. Oh. As much as people don't talk about fit, doesn't matter. For instance, I believe some of that too. Like when DeBoer was hired to Alabama, everyone's like, oh, he's not a Southern guy. The fit's not right. He's not going to work out there. I'm like, all right, well, Dan Lanning's not from Pacific Northwest. That's working pretty good. Nick Saban was raised in West Virginia, spent most of his time in the Midwest. He was able to work out at LSU and Alabama. I think it's the acceptance of the culture is really the acceptance of the fit, acceptance of the job is really the problem. And I don't think Brian Kelly ever fully did that, at least like genuinely. He did the fake accent bit that everyone like crushed him about, but I don't think he really ever accepted like the Louisiana way. And in a job like LSU, you specifically have to do that. Who else can they get? I mean, I think Kirby is safe at Georgia. It has enough money. It's where he played. It's his alma mater. A name I would look out for. And I mentioned it last week after their huge win. But now that I'm thinking about it, this is a job that he would take. And it could set up this program really well because he's used to winning without having better players. Now, if you give him better players, where's his ceiling at? But Jeff Brom. So LSU fans will turn their nose up at Jeff Brom. It's like, oh, he hasn't won a national championship and made it to the playoffs. I'm like, well, he's coaching at Louisville. Have you seen what his Louisville team does? They come out prepared and ready to play damn near every week. They've won big games. Look at his record against top 5 teams. I don't know, maybe I'll start pushing that Jeff Brom to LSU. They would take some buy-in, which I'm not sure LSU is ready to give up. But if Jeff Brom came in with the mindset of, hey, this is my job, this is how I'm doing this, if I accept this, it is my way or the highway, I'm not dealing with the boosters, I get final say, I think he could be a force there. That could be the counterpunch to Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, to the Kirby Smart at Georgia. I mean, well, didn't even think about this. Seems like Sark's unhappy at Texas. I don't know if he's going to leave Texas for almost the exact same situation, which is LSU. But it's still a possibility. Oh. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited to see how this coach carousel plays out. Leave a comment under the video who you think the candidates are. What do you think the worst moment of Brian Kelly's tenure at LSU was? And then if you want, give your overall rankings of the jobs available right now. Right now, I'm going to go LSU, Florida, Penn State, probably VTE, UCLA, then Arkansas. There's a couple Power 4 jobs I'm missing out there, but those are the ones I'm really thinking about at this second. But yeah, LSU is going to have their pick of the litter. Make Nick Saban say no. Make Urban Meyer say no. Make Lane Kiffin say no. Then go back to the drawing board. But you got to hear 3 definitive no's from those guys. And it's not a quick call. I'd be like, hey, job's open. It's a couple calls a day, checking in, be like, hey, have you thought about it a little bit more? What's going on? But wow, I mean, I'm at a loss of words. I'm just going to end it here. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Follow at @RayHall_CFB. Normal video schedule for this week. I'll still post on Tuesday, but I appreciate you guys for watching.